Hi, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the entire Department of Design, IIT Hyderabad, I welcome Ms. Kadambari Sahu. She's an award winning designer and a design leader working as SVP Design at ValueLabs. She founded User Experience Group at ValueLabs and is currently leading 50 plus designers to create world class and award winning products and services to have a positive impact on business. Her forte lies in building, growing, coaching, mentoring high performance design teams from scratch. She has won many awards for her work and leadership. The latest includes Steve Bronze for Female Executive of the Year, Red Dot Awards, German Design Awards, and many more. She is an international speaker on design and has given many talks on design conferences such as Interaction 20, Interaction 18, organized by IXDA, UX India, and many others. She is the founder of Sniffing Out the Differences collective that started with the grant received from Prince Claus Fund and British Council to explore storytelling through multi-sensory installation with a focus on smell interactions. It is currently a think tank that pursues rigorous research in the olfactory and allied fields focusing on experience design. She's an alumni of NID India, where she did her post graduation in new media design, which led her to examine the impact that technologies have on human interactions and culture. She has been curious about the role of design in everyday life and the ways in which human interactions can be mediated, shaped, enhanced, or augmented by technology. Please welcome Ms. Kadambari Sahu, who is here with us to talk about suggestions to young designers. All over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. And today, so I have modeled this talk as suggestions because very soon you guys would be out and would be doing a lot of things. So first, let me define what do I mean by young. By young, anybody who's fresh graduate or who's starting their career or are in design school, and it is nothing related to age, right? So let's clear that out. That whom I'm calling young. Second, my suggestions. These are the things that worked out for me. So I think by extrapolating, it might work for you, but you should take it, as per your situation. You can, accept it or you can reject it as per your, So these are just suggestions. These are not advices. The difference between advice and suggestion is advice is something that you give an advice, so people or suggest an idea that people should do, and suggestion is something that you're merely discussing or just giving your opinion about. So that's the difference, and here are some of my suggestions. So these are the things which you will not find from a book. These are some of my actual experiences that being a design student, then designer, then design leader, I have accumulated through the life experiences of mine. So let's first talk about things which actually hit me during my internship when I was a design student, and that was need for documentation. And I lost an opportunity because of that. So I would say that don't wait for the documentation to be done at the last of the project, because there are times that you will miss a lot of opportunities. And one such opportunity that I lost was I was working on a very ambitious project in Delhi in Charbit Design Labs, and we had done this amazing AR related project, which was really one of the first to be employed in that context. Uh, so I had applied for this international magazine of AR. So they really liked the concept. They liked everything about it. And they asked me, okay, you've shown us a user testing video. Do you have something a little better? I said, at this moment, I don't have something better. They said that I think the video is not up to the mark. And because of that, we cannot, sort of take your thing. So things like that happened, and it really, sort of gave me a jolt. And I decided to make sure that I do a better documentation. Though every time I do, I think it can be done better. But need for the documentation is real. And any idea you get, or anything you want to do, your projects, please document it, because in designer's life, our portfolio, our documentation is really important. Second thing I would say is take chances. When I say take chances, that means participate. There are times when the opportunity presented to us seems like too big a shoes to fill in, And at that point of time, even if you're a design student and you're participating for some international competitions and things like that, you feel okay, I might not win. But there's merit even when, you think there is no chance, but you should take part in such things. And I'll talk about two of the life incidences. One during my college time. So we applied to this competition, which was hosted by Nokia at that point of time, and we did. So it was a side project. It was nothing related to the actual academic work that we were doing, and it was called Shabdveer, where we were looking at how to. And in those days, you didn't have like a smartphone. It's really long time. It was 2011, I guess, and those point of time, the only phones which were there were Nokia's. Where very few smartphones had really come out at that point of time, and you had a stylus and a touch screen, and those phones were incredibly expensive. So we had made this application for Gujarati learning by tracing on that phones. And it was really ahead of its time in that context. We worked a lot. And what happened was, first we got selected, we got shortlisted from NID to go into the national level. In the national level, unfortunately, we were popular winner in a way that everybody liked the work. But unfortunately, one of the judges did not like our, things. The project that we presented, and that's why we could not win. But what really gave us at that point of time, apart from rejection, was this whole discoverability and visibility across many people who attended it. Until date, I think many of the people came to us who spoke to us are my friends. So always take chances. Even if you lose, you might win. Second, I would talk about this competition, which it was an open call. I think it was a fellowship by BMW, and it was when I was working, and they were looking at 15 people around the globe to come in, and it would be like a fellowship where you would come together and you would brainstorm on future of work. Now, what really happened when I was applying for this, it was not just limited to designers, it was all across. So there were neuroscientists and a lot of other people who were going to apply, and I met them. Now, two of my very qualified friends did not apply for it. What they said, I said, hey, let's apply. I'm always very enthusiastic and very, high on energy. I said, hey, guys, let's do it. And they were like, are you mad? We already have too much of work to do right now. I don't think it's worth the time. So even when these two very able men rejected the whole idea of applying to this competition, out of which one is in right now in MIT Media Lab and other is a product manager in San Francisco, these two guys did not feel confident enough to go about it. For me, I did not think about anything. I did not think whether it was above me, below me, anything of those judgments I did not pass. What I did was faithfully, I just represented my ideas and I sent. It required an essay, it required a lot of brainstorming. I did all of those and I sent it. It was fun for me to just apply. And to everybody's, surprise, I got it. I was the only Indian in that fellowship. And I met amazing amount of people there. One was neuroscientist, one was AI ethicist. The kind of networking opportunity that I got there, apart from amazing brainstorming work that we did, and I could meet people from BMW, and also if the wonderful experience that I got, cannot be even measured. So I did not know at that point of time that I could be, winning such competition. So never ever underestimate your power. It's there's this joke where one person goes to this cathedral and always says that please win me a lottery. And then one point of time the god says that you know what, buy a ticket first. So please buy a ticket, take chances, you never know what will happen. Keep some confidence, keep some hope, and hope might really push you forward in terms of going where in places you never thought you could be. The next thing that I will come, and it's very strong ethic of mine, is time and its value. Many of the people, especially in the creative field, are not very punctual. With very like a lot of regret, I have to say this, but punctuality is something that you should not take for granted. Punctuality does not just mean being on time. It's also delivering on time, or making a commitment. Honoring a commitment. And I know it's very difficult because what happens is being in creative field, you never know what kind of outcome you're expecting because you are after the unknown. You are actually creating something which does not exist. So it does take time. What happens is when you're in the starting of the career or when you're a student, you can't really estimate at first that how much time it will take to complete a certain task. Uh, and I wouldn't say that with time it gets better. I think with time you should get better in terms of assessing that how much time you can devote to a certain thing. Maybe you should box it out in terms of how much time you have, work backwards and go forward from that idea and stick to the plan, come what may. Sometimes it's okay to loosen it a little bit, but I think that practice goes long way. This also means that you will start having the effect of professional. What does professional means in the terms that I'm talking? Professional is somebody whom you can trust for getting certain work done, quality of work done. So I think when you value time and when you understand that what you can deliver, it will get better. Always respect time, is what I would say, contrary to many people who would say that time doesn't matter. I think it does. The other thing I believe and is extremely important, especially for you people who are still in college, is friendship. I think friendship is incredible. Specifically, I believe the best team is the team where you have friends, or the best team can be those people who are working with you are your best friends. It's only then you can really contribute. It's this whole joy of working with your friends that is amazing, that I think you should form that bond when you are in college. But it's not just that. Even when you grow out of the college and you go out and you're working in the field, these are the same people who would be in similar situation in life. Many a times life will throw a lot of challenges at you, and this is this network which will help you to cope through it. Even if not that, I think generally it helps to have friends around. And I would really say that read more than just blogs. In current times, what happens is people always think of reading short formats like blogs and posts. It was just the another day in office when I was reviewing work, and one of my interns said that I really read a lot. And I asked her at the end of the review, because it went totally wrong in terms of the process that she had followed. And I was curious, when she read so much, how could she go wrong? And then I asked her, you read a lot, right? What did you read? And the answer was blog. And you need to be very cautious, especially with the blogs, because blogs are people's experiences. And those are their experiences. The field sometimes, especially in the UX, many people don't even know what they're trying to do. And they write it out. Sometimes it is good to read people's experiences, but take it with a pinch of salt. Don't think that that's something that you should follow. Always put everything under the scanner and put everything under question before following it blindly. Also, with blog, it so happens that you don't have the depth of the concepts and context through which it was taken. And that's why I think it's much advantageous to read long formats like book, where it is dealt, the topics are dealt in depth, and chances are that you would understand much better. Next, I would talk about explore beyond the ordinary and known. And you would say that, what does that even mean? So for me, it means that already when people are doing certain things, move beyond it and try to see that what kind of experiences you have, what are the things that really entices you, and you can go forward even if other people are not really into it. And if you find such kind of explanation, you should also invest some time in passion side project. Now, I'll tell you about one of my projects that has received phenomenal success, which is called Sniffing Out the Differences. And it is based on olfactory interactions. Basically, it is based on smell. So I wanted to do storytelling through smell, and I believe that I have a heightened sense of smell. So I can, there are times when people, my mom would say that, okay, this sabzi is good, and I would say it has gone stale and it will go. You can't eat it in next 2 hours, and that would really happen. So lovingly, my parents call me sniffing squad member. But all those things aside, I'm really interested in understanding, what are the smells and why smells? Are they cultural descriptors and things like that? So sometime in 2017, I got this idea that smells are cultural heritage too. I'm not talking about perfume. I'm talking about just the general smell, and that I thought was good idea. A small idea, good idea. I did not know how to pursue it, and then there was this open call for projects by Prince Claus Fund and British Council, and I applied with a friend of mine, and we wrote this that smells are cultural heritage and we would want to explore the South Asian culture and stories related to in our culture where we really respect it a lot. So that became a side project of mine, a passion side project that was happening, and then it really I got through that. I got funding from them and I took it forward. So from one person I became three people first, four people actually, two people, one of the other friend of mine I applied with her, and then my other two very close friends, the same one who rejected BMW participation, I asked them if they would help me out. So they got involved, then their friends also got involved, and that's how the collective first formed. When I joined ValueLabs, at that point of time, even ValueLabs saw the intensity of the passion, and I told them that I would want to continue, and they said, of course, by all means. Not only that, our CEO had come to the exhibition. He was our chief guest, and he was so kind that he said that if you want to continue with this, I would want to encourage you by giving funds, and that's how the project is still continuing, and we're still making a lot of different research work. This is the same project which won Red Dot, GDA, you name it, we have won it. And it was very transdisciplinary. It involved, so it cannot be done by one person. So this passion side project gave us a lot of visibility. It gave us, this whole area where we could experiment, create, be bold with our thoughts. So it generally pays off, even if it is not rewarding in terms of the way sniffing out differences have been. Even if it would have not been this successful in terms of getting the awards that it has, it would have been still special for me because it was a place where creativity came out. It was not from the point of business where I was looking at business constraints. It was pure creative pleasure that I was imbibing through. I was getting through this project. So do invest some of your time in these passion project. It need not be finishing in 1 week, 2 week. It can take long. It's fine, but it is something that you should be really proud of in doing. The next topic that I would say is really the need of the hour, and that is decolonizing mindset. And what does that even mean, right? You would say that, what do you mean when you say decolonize mindset? And I would say that I've gone many places. It's not just anybody else who would be discriminating against you. It would be very people of our country who would be discriminating, between you. When we talk about design and we talk about designers, it so happens that representation of Indian designers are not much, especially in the digital fields, let's say. And people assume that we are not creative. I don't know about the other people from outside India, how much they assume, but our folks, our countrymen definitely assume that. So at this point of time, you should not take this kind of discrimination. You should help to educate them that creativity is not in some form of nationality. It does not come in certain race or religion or caste or any of those things. It is upon a person who wants to be creative, who wants to invest those kind of energies. It comes to those. And it's everybody's right to be creative in that sense. So decolonize people's mindset, because it has so happened that because design, the history of design, we generally start from Europe and America and things like that, and there are many designers from there. It doesn't mean that we are not good enough. So never take that discrimination. If anybody tries to offer you that kind of discrimination, give them back, push it back, and the best way to fight is by creating good work. So I think it's the need of the hour. It's need for all of us to really do good work. When we talk about this, let me now shift a little gear and take you towards the jobs that you would be going to. Now, when I came into this field of UX, especially many of you would be joining because there's a lot of demand and that field is really growing. And let me tell you, it's a very intellectual field as well. But the kind of job descriptions that you would get would be something like this: UI, UX, product design, full stack, Photoshop, or from concept to CSS, and all monkey business that you can get, you will get in all those JDs. And when you get this, and yeah, they will be wanting freshers, but they would say that 2 years experience or 3 years experience and whatnot. At this point of time, just understand that they don't know what they are doing. Just forgive them. So there are three ways. There are many ways actually, but I used to deal with this kind of situation in three ways. First, I used to forgive them instantly because I used to feel they do not know what they are trying to ask us. Second, either if it is not really something that you want to apply, immediately forget them, leave it, and just move on. The next, if you're really interested and if you have that bandwidth to fight their thoughts. Tell them that why are you asking everything from one person. What really would happen at this point of time is they will put you under pressure of delivering everything that is possible in the entire design domain, which is really not possible from one person. At the result of this, a person would become mediocre, would feel insufficient, not enough. These kind of feelings will start creeping in, which is very bad for a young designer who's just starting off because it will really dampen their confidence level. So you should know, when to, you need to discern that where you want to be and what you want to be. And at times educate, because many times in my life, I tried to educate people and they understood. And thankfully, that's how I have grown in the career that we all love so much, which is our profession, design. So educate first, forgive, and then either forget or fight those opinion and go forward from there. Also understand, when we work, the work works on us. What do I mean? When you're trying to create something good, the kind of efforts that you put on creating something, the same efforts also is put on yourself in the kind of, the kind of designer or the creative person you will become. The more you work, the kind of thought processes that you go through, these are actually, really making you the person, the creative person that you need to be or you want to be. So work really defines you in a certain sense, and not every work would be, but you should be really, I would say, cautious about what kind of work you are doing. And that's why I say choose work wisely, that what you want to do. And sometimes, when you are choosing these kind of careers or, the jobs that you would be offered, even when you fight with them, you might lose. Do understand at that point of time that these sour grapes can be sweet too, because sometimes not getting selected is the best thing that can happen to you. It has happened to me also. So I could say from my experience that sometimes not getting selection is the best thing that can happen to you. So don't really, take rejection so hard on you. Next, I would say that, okay, now you think that fine, I would not, take anything as granted in terms of, the kind of work people are doing. But at the same point of time, do we have it in us? Have we understood our processes well? Do we know what does process even mean? So I believe a lot of education is required in terms of, reading, getting those knowledge is important. Um, I see many portfolios where you would find a persona, then this and that, and blah, blah, and blah, blah. And then what really happens is when I try to ask them questions that, okay, how you've mentioned this kind of persona, first of all, why persona? I think from there onwards, people start really getting uncomfortable, because what they really have done in those portfolios is that they have followed the process like a ritual. Process is not a ritual to be performed. It is actually something that you should question, that why are you doing and how it is affecting your outcome. You might have also heard this term or this statement very often, and that said, it is called have faith in the process. Now, people have really misinterpreted this line a lot. When we say have faith in the process, it means don't jump to conclusions. Take some time to assimilate what research work that you are doing and things like that. Take some time. Don't directly come to a concept, don't jump to an idea saying that, okay, this is the one that I'm going to take it forward. But what people have started thinking about this is that process is somehow some magic that you should just have faith in, and somehow some amazing results will come out. This is not the interpretation that you should take. You should have faith in the process in terms that you should not jump. You should understand that, by doing step by step, by understanding what that process means, you can reach to a certain way. Because at most of the time, what we are trying to do is we are fighting unknown. We are trying to create something which did not exist. So creating innovative things, or things which are out of box, or something which is not the ordinary, takes time. It takes a lot of mental energy, it takes a lot of creative energy. So it does take time and does take process, but don't take it like a ritual. Don't take it, just don't keep faith, don't be blind faith in the process. First question it, because if you don't question, it would be wrong, which also comes to a part where you should question properly, and that's research, right? I believe the research is as good as the question you asked. There are times when I have seen some of the reviews that I do, especially from young designers first time performing their work. The research that they do is full of bias. Sometimes the questions that they had asked is leading, sometimes they are in yes and no, and this has resulted into a lot of problems. Thankfully we have review places, review built into our system, so we can catch early and we can correct, and there's always a senior designer guiding you. But I think it's important, the skill of asking question is extremely important today, and not just for being a good researcher. Definitely you should be very, if you don't know how to ask questions, I'm sure in most of our curriculum it is included, but it takes time. It's a skill to ask question and to discern really what our users want, what why are we designing. All those questions should come properly, and you should make their tools to actually understand, and empathize. We don't have a brain scanner to literally understand what other person's experiences might be, but questions are the only tool that designer has in a way to really understand and empathize with others. So use it wisely and use it well. As a designer, I think the another quality that you should have is that of a fearless negotiator. And what do I mean by fearless negotiator? Is that one who does not compromise easily. Now, you would say, but where all of these skills would come, handy? So many of you, even if there are, a lot of firms that you would be joining, you would be the first designer in their, organization, in their startup or in their company. At that point of time, onus would be on you to really take design process and instill into the things that you are doing. At that point of time, there will be a lot of pressure on you to literally cut down on a lot of processes, do it in the way other people have thought about. And this is the time that you should not compromise. Don't compromise easily in any case, because I think we as designers are users advocate, and if we don't really learn this whole aspect of negotiating, and negotiating does not mean coming to a mean. At a mean point, don't think that is negotiation. The best negotiation is the negotiation where you empathize with the one you are negotiating with. You understand from their vantage point what they are coming in, and based on that, you create a course where you could really explain your thoughts well. That is how I believe the best negotiation could be done. It is not dishonesty. It is not about always winning, but it is about really negotiating to see how you can get there. One of my experiences recently, when I was setting up the entire design function at ValueLabs, was one of the things that I encountered was our ValueLabs logo, which again is an more enormous successful project that has been. But at the time when I was trying to do that, I think many of the people thought that why are we even doing that? Then I had to explain everybody, and always do that with a lot of respect when you're trying to talk about some things. Take respect each and everyone. It's not that you are some really big person, or that should not be your attitude. It should be coming from empathy. It should that should be your starting point. So when I could explain in a good term that how when Value Labs was started, it was a 3-member company, and now it is 5,500 plus employees. The scale has changed, so does a lot of other things, and it is not reflecting. And how best we can reflect our ideas and thought processes, it was then after a good amount of persistence that it got through. So if I would have not been fearless enough, that wouldn't have gone through. And if I would have not negotiated from the point of empathy, nobody would have even invested their time and energy. Last but not least, we are not in profession of making pigs pretty. Whoever thinks that we're making things pretty is wrong, and you should never give in, never reduce design to that particular aspect. At the same point of time, educate people. Half of the time in being a designer, it would be your it will be your job description. Even if it is not written in your JD, you will have to explain people what design is. You have to really articulate its value, and it is that you have to take forward. And you should really shun down this whole thing of making any ugly looking thing or anything pretty. We are not doing that, right? We're making the whole things delightful. We're making life of people easier. It's a very noble profession in a way. And at this point of time in this particular era, it's one of the places in human history that more than ever we require ethics, more than ever we require this whole empathy and understanding that what can happen, be it data, be it privacy, be it any other aspects of it. Design really need to play that kind of a role, a pivotal role, so, and very ethical role. So always remember, we are not in this kind of profession of making pigs pretty. Also, you should be very, you should not become somebody who's not liking to debate. I think one of the things that we have to learn is to debate with respect again. You should debate with everybody you can have, access to. You should debate with your professors. You should debate with your colleagues. You should, with your, fellow students. Everybody you should debate with, because that's the only way that you can learn and you can form opinions. That's how even I had formed all the opinions that I have today. And I tested it out. Many of the classes that we had were more on debating and understanding. It's one of the best ways. I believe the more heated, the better. But of course, with respect, as I said. Next, I think you should never be smug. What happens is, one point of time you will get out of the college and you'll start becoming a experienced designer. At that point of time, it does not mean that if you're 2 years into the profession, you are 2 times better than what you were in the college, or 3 times, 5 times, 10 times better than what you were. So I don't think adding numbers to your career or experience really has to do anything with it. And I would like to say that add experience to the years, not year to your experience. By that I mean, don't be smart. Try learning. Make sure that each of your year or each of your time is filled with this experience. I'm not trying to tell you that be workaholic or things like that, but I'm saying that always be eager to learn. Never be smug. Don't think that you know now everything. So that's one thing that I have always learned, and I always look forward to working more, doing more in terms of where I go. This also brings to a good point, which is of ageism. Don't think that somebody who's old might be too out of the technology radar, or somebody too small might not know. So you should, and especially I think in the design school where you have, in the same class people from very different age groups, I think it helps. But you should not have these kind of ageist ideologies with you. Everybody should be respected, irrespective of their age. And also, they should be given opportunity to contribute. Last, I would say one of the biggest quality and the skill that you should look for developing is discerning who is really truth, who can be trusted. What you read was correct, because we live in post-truth world. That word itself gives us a shock. Don't take anything anything as which is law or something like as a self proven truth. Put everything into the scanner, put everything into the question, which also means whom do you follow. So when you are discerning and you're choosing only does not happen from the industry or people who are from the position who are trying to recruit you. It is also equally on you, whom you try to think as a person who can influence you, who is the person that you should read, who is the person you should follow or should join to be part of a team. So I say discerning is another skill that you should have, because in the current world that we live in, there are a lot of fakes that you will find, not only in terms of politics and in terms of a lot of other things. but half of the blogs or half of the knowledge that are written today are because they want to be standing out in terms of marketing. So you need to really know why that thing was done, what were the intentions, and based on that, only then take it. Last but not the least, and I'd leave you with these some of the things that I follow in my own life, is be bold, experiment, create, take chances, read, and ask questions. So I'm going to leave you with only these words today. And if there are any questions, please ask me.
Thank you, Miss Kadambari. So that was really insightful. I think all of us are going to really, we all benefited from what all you have said, and we're going to take in mind.
I want to know, I want to know about your a little bit about a journey from a student to making your own startup and developing it, like you're doing right now.
So currently, I'm not in a startup. I'm in ValueLabs. I'm heading a team of 50 people inside a big corporation, which is 5,500 plus people. But yeah, I did start it.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah,
that,
I
that
got it. I got it.
yeah.
So I was, I'll start even before coming to design. So I was engineering graduate, I did electronics and telecommunication at that point of time. Innovation meant for me engineering, and that's why I had joined engineering. After 4 years of engineering, I understood that this is not exactly the totality of what innovation I wanted to achieve, though I was happy with my degree. I was thinking of beyond something which would, sort of. I used to dance, I used to sing, and things like that, and there are a lot of creative and art things that I had. But taking all those thought processes, not dancing, but taking those thought processes together and combining and creating something where I can explore all of these talents of mine is where I wanted to be. So that's why I got into a college where and a course specifically where I don't have to dismiss my past. I didn't wanted to pass off engineering degree like into the dustbin. I wanted to take it forward, and that's why I did new media design, where it took electronics engineering of mine, and I could build on top of that. On top of that, I actually got new thought processes, which we all get when once you join in design college. So after design college, design school, in last year of my internship, I had like a lot of confidence in terms of what I was doing. So I actually opened my own studio. I ran it for 2 years, and then I realized that the scale of the projects really go down when you are having your own studio. I mean, each one to their own. Some people really get it good, but they are much more, sort of constrained because you're looking for a business, and when you are a small, team, a bigger project which requires a lot of mental, agility and a lot of mental, process to be inculcated, and creativity would not go to a very small studio. So that's why then I moved out, and I was in TCS when where I was in a position of a manager. So manager, designer. So I opened like a new media sort of a lab there, and I was at that point of time I was looking at. So I was placed in a very good position. I was inside internal communications, and we were looking at using communication as a tool for 3 lakh plus employees of TCS. So how do you go about doing that? Especially when the people are young. So I had done good amount of exercise there, but I think I found the environment little something that I wanted to explore more. So in 1.5 years, I left that and I came to Hyderabad, where I was actually in Pramati, where I led a product. Basically, I was a lead designer, wave maker. Again, that project was something which I'm very proud of. I was there in Pramati for 2 years. I was able to be part of the redesign. So at that point of time, we pushed hard and we could do the redesign of the project. The whole of the branding changed, and with all of these efforts and the rigorous efforts that were done at that point of time, and with the amazing team that we had at that point of time, it went 10x up. So that was another success story that I had in my life. And apart from that, I was doing all of these activities. I went for the fellowship in the BMW Duathon. I was invited for 25 people among India for VR conference, VR workshop by NASCOM. So all those things were happening side by side. I used to keep exploring along with my friends. Sniffing out the differences also started then. First time I was invited for IXDA for as a speaker. My proposal got accepted, so I gave a talk there. From there, then I got an opportunity to start my own team inside ValueLabs, and that's something that I really like. Like I always wanted to have my own thing, so that was an opportunity that I could not refuse. So I moved to ValueLabs, and that's how I started 2.5 years back. Then I think I first started with 7 people, and currently we are 50 and more. And the whole design team exists. So this has been my journey. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.